Hi, Mary Sherwood-Savinsky here. So glad you were able to join me. Bear with me a little bit because I do have a touch of a cold today, unfortunately. I thought that I would answer a few questions that I received online about job searching, just some general questions that I've received recently that I thought I would share the answers with everyone in case it benefited you. One question that I do get actually quite a lot is about age, and does age matter? Am I too young? Am I too old? And age does matter, and it's important to take that into account if you are very young or if you are considered or consider yourself older. You want to address that up front and adjust for that in the minds of the employer who's going to be considering you to make sure that, first of all, you're applying to the right employers and the right positions. You want to make sure that you are identifying a match for your skill set overall. So if you're quite young or just out of school, you probably do not want to apply for many jobs that require a lot of years of experience, for example. Because yes, the employer is going to look at your date of graduation, let's say, and assume that you're not qualified. Even if you are, if you've gotten an early start or worked all through college, maybe you do have the experience that they're looking for. And if that's the case, you might want to adjust your resume accordingly so that it is very clear that you do have experience, even though you are a recent college graduate. So that's just one example. If you're an older applicant and you're applying for, let's say, an entry-level position because you're actually retired and you're just looking for something to do to get out of the house and maybe have a little bit of income, which a lot of folks that I'm working with are doing these days. Nothing wrong with it, but if you want to be considered, again, make it clear on your application and or your resume that that is what you're looking for, and address that so that it does take the age/money factor out of the way for the employer. Because, of course, as an older applicant, that's one of the things that they are going to worry about is that, oh, they can't afford you. You're going to want more money. And even if you start out at less money, you're going to be pushing for more money before too long. So, again, you want to do what you can to limit those concerns right from the get-go. Fashion your resume or your application in such a way that not only is it going to make you look attractive to the employer that you're hoping will hire you, but also looking ahead towards the interview so that it lays the groundwork for things that you would like to discuss and talk about and make yourself look good during an interview. So those are just some tips to keep in mind if you are either a younger or an older job applicant, because age does matter a lot of times. Sometimes it just does not, and really, regardless of your age, you should be very comfortable with the fact that you have good skills and focus on those skills and abilities and not so much your age. If you're focused on it, the employer is going to focus on it. Believe me, there's no way around that. A lot of people ask me at different points during the job application process, why didn't I get the job? I was the perfect applicant for the job. My resume looked great. I interviewed fantastically. Well, you can always ask for feedback, and it's a great idea to do that. It will help you, first of all, understand why you didn't get hired and make you feel a little better. Second of all, it might give you information that will help you to do better on the next go around, either with that employer or another employer. Lastly, but not least, people that are hired don't always work out. Can't count the number of times that I've had clients come back to me and say, remember that job I didn't get? I was so disappointed about it. They just called me for an interview. I went and I was hired on the spot because the original applicant and candidate that was hired did not work out for whatever reason. So go out of your way to ask for feedback from the employer. You may want to think hard about how you're going to ask for that, because you don't want to sound entitled or in any way negative about the fact that you weren't hired. You really have to come to the employer with a sense of, self-improvement and wanting to do your best and interest for the job and all those positive things that are going to make you stick in the employer's mind and may help you be considered for other jobs that open up down the road that the employer doesn't currently even know about, let alone you know about. So you always want to put your best foot forward when interacting with an employer. But definitely, if you didn't get a job, ask why. Is there something I could have done differently? Is there a credential that I can work on? Is there a class I could take? Did I not present anything clearly to you? Because I really was hoping to be further considered for the job or even hired. And I really felt like I was the best candidate for the job. And I'm disappointed, don't get me wrong, but I really want the information that I need that's going to help me move forward, either with other job possibilities with you or other interviews going forward. And I appreciate your time. Something along those lines. You want to put always everything in your own words and be very comfortable with what you're saying. You may need to practice a little bit. That's fine. And even recommend it. But do ask the employer. There's no reason to beat yourself up over it. It could be something as simple as somebody, a returning employee showed up unexpectedly and they were just happy to be done with the hiring process and had that person back or something. And so don't look at it as a negative on yourself especially, but do try to get some feedback. You never know. You might be able to improve things going forward. Let's see. What should you do if you find out that your job is being advertised? This happens a lot these days. People are not staying at employers as long as they used to be. The labor market is very fluid, and employers are not always sure what their needs are going to be from day to day. Sometimes it's a corporate decision, and they just want to get a feel for who's out there or who might apply. Maybe they can get someone to come from the competition and get some inside information that way. It may be that they're not happy with your performance, and that certainly is something you should think about objectively and assess and be prepared for, and even make plans to leave. I mean, these days people sometimes are staying even though they tell me, I should have seen the writing on the wall. And I think, more often than not, people do that. You don't like to job hop. You don't like to make changes. We often feel like, well, the devil I know is better than the devil I don't know, etc. So, we do tend to stay perhaps sometimes longer than we need to in a not ideal job, or a job that's not a best fit for us or the employer. And sometimes it is the employer that realizes that, first of all. It may have nothing to do with you at all. The fact that the job is advertised or your particular job is advertised, but it may. So you do want to think about it. If you have a good relationship with your supervisor, you could feel comfortable going to him or her and saying, someone just brought to my attention that this position that sounds very much like mine is being advertised. Can we talk about that? I always want to make sure that I'm doing my best job for you. We haven't had a performance review for a while, so I'm open to doing better if there's something I can improve on, but I want you to know that I enjoy working here, and I'd like to continue that, but do need you to tell me if there's something that I need to work on or improve on. And, if you can do that and have that kind of relationship with your supervisor, they'll receive it well, and they may even be prepared for that to happen. If they're smart, they'll give you a heads up before they advertise and say, hey, corporate's asking us to advertise this because of, etc. Could be anything. But often employers don't do the best or the right thing either, for whatever reason. Either they're busy or they just haven't thought about it from the employee's perspective, perhaps, and that's more often the case, I'm sure. People, even if they know they need to look for a job, sometimes they'll say, oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to look for a job. The job search takes time to find the job openings, to apply for the job openings. The fact of the matter is today's job market demands that you are always looking for opportunities. Everyone should always have an up-to-date resume ready to go, with the skills and the interests in areas that you excel at clearly highlighted, so that you're ready to go and to present yourself if the opportunity does come up for you to do so. And really, if you're already working, what you want to do is to find a job that you're going to love. It absolutely is going to be the best match for you, and you're going to be so happy to have it. And the best way to do that is to know what you're looking for, know what you're really good at, know what you would like to do, and to be able to look out for that. And that's just part of it. If your eyes are open and you know what you're looking for, then you can know about it, certainly. But if you're not ready for it, that's a whole other problem. So what you want to do is to also be ready for the opportunity and have that resume ready to go. Have your LinkedIn profile up to date and really looking good. If you need help on any of those things, don't be afraid to ask somebody like myself who can help you. I know I work with folks at a very reasonable price, and even negotiate with them if I need to, and split up costs and drag out prices over a couple of months if I need to. Those of us that are in the coaching business in general are doing it to help people. And we want to be able to help people, and we're going to make it as easy as we can. Certainly, I'd rather you come and ask me for help, and we work out some sort of an arrangement, rather than not, and try to muddle through on your own and maybe not be successful. And you'd be surprised. It really is a lot less expensive than you fear, I'm sure. That's what I hear from all my clients, at any rate. I'm sure you'll find the same as well. How often should people change jobs, or how often is it okay to change jobs? Can I stay at a job for 1 year, or do I have to stay there for 2 or 3 years? There's no hard and fast rule necessarily, and again, people are not staying at employers like they used to. It used to be that they would, go to work with an employer and retire at year 20 or year 30 or year 40 with a gold watch, or a cash pension or whatever it is. But people are just not doing that these days. So it is a little easier to kind of change jobs and not stay at this or that job as long as you might have in the past. But if you do change jobs, you want to think about how you're going to talk about that with the employer, how you're going to present it on your resume. If it's a year or less, you might be able to avoid even listing it on an application or resume if you can just present the years of employment, let's say, or if you take a more functional approach and list select roles or recent professional experience versus every job you've ever had, and address it that way. Certainly, if you're in a job that you're not liking or you're unhappy with, there's probably going to be one out there that's better for you, and you should be looking for it. And I don't think if you're in that situation that you should stay in it for a prescribed number of years, let's say, just to avoid looking like a job hopper. I think you should make plans to leave and to find a better job, one that you're going to be more successful at because you're better suited and you find it more enjoyable, as soon as you can, and not to tally. That having been said, you probably have bills to pay like everybody else, so you can use the time at the job to figure out what it is you do like and you don't like, and plan your career or your job change in such a way that you have all the information at hand and you're ready to jump on the opportunity as soon as you find it. So again, you shouldn't feel like you have to stay in a job for a prescribed number of years, but you should always be on the lookout regardless for opportunities that might present themselves, because you want to be happy and successful, and the best way to do that is to know without a doubt that you're spending 8 hours or more a day at a job that you're well suited for, that is the best possible match for you, and that you feel you are able to contribute to a larger process or picture. than you could otherwise. So that's it for today, I think. That was probably long enough. We covered about 5 questions today, and I hope you found them helpful. I appreciate you attending today's Google Hangouts, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. You can look for me at JobSearch for the rest of us.com or life-works.info. You can email me at lifeworks@mail.com. That's just LIFEWORKS at mail, MAIL.com. Take care. Make it a great day.